Yeah, hi guys. Here to talk a little bit about common things that you should, line item things you should take care of to keep you on the road with your 7.3 Ford. I made a quick list here to hopefully help you out. Number one, change the oil. That's a given. One thing that might not be a given though is the high pressure oil pump here, the hpop. So there's a plug right here. Take the plug out, suck the oil out of there, and change that as well. But you're not done. At that point, run the engine for 5 minutes, shut it off, suck it out again. Again, run the engine 5 minutes, suck it out, change it, replace that again. This oil is for the injectors, to fire, and if it's not changed, you can have problems with the injectors. So with the stiction issues, it's good to run some Arch Oil or Arch Oil 9100 or at least some other stiction preventative oil in there. This oil is not cleaned out with your oil change. So there's 3 quarts of oil on the top of the motor in this hpop system that's in the top. So make sure that that's taken care of as well. So replace the fuel filter. That's right here. So there's a drain valve back there. Turn that and it will drain the fuel out. Put a genuine Ford fuel filter in there. That way you won't have any problems. The air filter, another big thing. Your 7.3 needs to breathe. Well, any motor for that matter. And it can be a common thing that people miss. Replace the coolant and radiator hoses and the thermostat. Thermostat on here is right here. Also, I would buy a new housing too. These are very common to rust. So just below this is the thermostat. Do a little research and see if you should buy the higher degree thermostat. I think it's like a 204 degree. They say that the diesel engine runs better with a higher degree thermostat. Also, I bought the hose that goes around the serpentine belt here when I did the radiator coolant. So that way if I have a problem with my serpentine belt, I don't have to pull the radiator hose off to get to the serpentine belt, because before from the factory the hose goes through the serpentine belt. And when you're installing this hose, make sure that there's clearance here on this alternator / power steering pump bracket. If there's not, you can just trim the bottom of the hose 1/4 of an inch, and that way there won't be rubbing and eventual breakage of your hose. Okay, so moving down to the Icp sensor number 5 here. That sensor is located right here. If you proactively take care of that, this pigtail here, and eventually the high pressure oil will inject through the old sensor. Here I've got an old sensor right here. It will go through the sensor and basically destroy the end of your wiring here. And then you'll have to replace the pigtail here as well. So I just thought it made sense to tackle that ahead of time not have to replace the pigtail. And then I also have a spare sensor. Now down below, down on the hpop down there, is Ipr valve. That's another common issue that can have you stranded on the side of the road. Here's what the Ipr valve looks like. Well, right now there's a cover over the top of the right side of this here, protecting it. But here's the old one I took out. There's a few videos out there how to take it out. I used a 1 1/8 inch socket. I believe it was a Cornwell. The brand is Cornwell. It was a real deep socket. It didn't have any problems getting it out. So now I've got a spare Ipr valve here. Not a cheap item, but I figure it's cheaper than a tow. So, and I've got a spare sensor here that, or a valve here that, you know, if need be, I know it's good. And again, I bought a good quality valve here. Both of these sensors I bought from Riff Raff. And if you look at what they send you here, this is genuine Ford stuff. So, you know, you could go on Amazon and find these ICP sensors and whatnot for 16 bucks. But then, yeah, if you read the comments, people are a little bit irritated because it's junk. So if you want to put junk on your truck, you know, knock yourself out. I like to save money too, but there's just certain things that it's, you know, you want to be down the road and getting to work on time and whatnot, and not wondering what's wrong with the truck and paying somebody to diagnose it and whatnot. Okay, so number 7 is the replace passenger side fuel line. Okay, so here's the old fuel line I took off. Right, do you see, I should just point at it here. You see right here, there's a bracket on this fuel line. And over time, that bracket is just vibrating away on this fuel line, and eventually your fuel line will just start leaking massive amounts of fuel in the valley, and and then it'll come out the weep hole on the back of the engine. And so where's this bracket? It's behind the tube down below here. I think it's a 1/2 inch socket on it. You know what? If you're not going to replace the fuel line, at least take the bracket off. I've watched videos where technicians have just taken left the bracket off, and it's fine with having the bracket off. So at least it's not going to sit there and vibrate more. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you know, wrap the fuel bracket with something, flash it. They call it flashing to protect it. So, and then maybe make another bracket or whatnot. So I guess that about covers it. Thanks for watching.